The slowly disintegrating sense of contentment created by Josef von Sternberg in his 1930 film The Blue Angel spotlights an unsettling lack of self-understanding that flooded the post-war era. Through a complicated yet initially benevolent entanglement of two unlikely lovers, the film captures an eerie feeling encompassing Germany directly following the loss of the First World War, along with two economic crises. As the country itself floundered in a daze of identity, the population felt the same uneasy lack of belonging and control. The expressionist films from the 1920s illustrated this lack of belonging through abstract visuals and shocking stories, like the strikingly dangerous appearance of the environment created by Robert Wiene in his 1919 film The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, or even the evil doppelganger of Bridget Helm's character in Fritz Lang's 1927 film Metropolis, during a more stable yet still unsure era of the Weimar Republic. But Sternberg's approach showcased a scenario with an odd sense of realism that could really only be found in the art of the New Objectivity era. Now, I could talk about the film's innovative use of sound design as the first European film with live sound recording, or the creative sets that perfectly embody the tailspin into a financial depression that Germany was quickly slipping into. But today I want to look at the fascinating social commentary the film expressed so cleverly, and how Sternberg completely flipped the gender roles everyone was so used to seeing in film. From the very first moment that Professor Emanuel Rath enters the cabaret after discovering that his students frequented the club, his face is plastered with an expression of anger, confusion, and bewilderment. The twinge of wonder expressed by Emil Janning's exaggerated performance, though, provides a new perspective that paints the traditional old man in an entirely new light of transformation, from disciplinarian to vulnerable admirer. This can even be seen when he first finds this postcard from his student's backpack. While the nature of her work ensures a constant storm of admirers for performer Lola Lola, the expression of intrigue coming from a typically unambiguous person, a professor who inevitably fought in World War I, seems to catch her off guard as well. Despite the typical arrangement where Professor Rasch is in a strictly defined position of power vis-a-vis his students, he quickly becomes the subordinate in his first encounter at the Blue Angel Cabaret. As he is pushed by the performers in the club, a clear expression of anxiety engulfs his face, while the opposite occurs for Lola. Even though she's surprised, she maintains a sense of control and calmness as she attempts to reassure him. Though he seemingly begins to enjoy the world he is falling into, as the magician questions him, he's removed from the new transformation and grasps for any sense of authority as he yells at a student that had been cleverly hiding in the green room throughout the encounter. But when he returns the following day, he seems to embrace the idea of this lifestyle, and even defends Lola against two other intoxicated men. This exact moment is even visualized as he watches Lola from the balcony, dreaming of his future life as her lover and husband. Meanwhile, she is shocked with his blatant commitment to her, and seems to even be tempted herself to embrace the life of a typical housewife. However, while Rasch fully commits to the new life by even quitting his job, Lola maintains her sense of identity and does not allow for his desire for complete intimacy and control. This can be especially seen as she declines to stop selling the postcards. 5 years later, though, after everything has changed, she still sticks up for him as the magician berates him with forceful comments, and he still seems to be intrigued and partially content with his major life switch, slowly accepting a different identity as a new man with a new woman. This false sense of security is destroyed as Rasch harshly denies to travel back to his hometown, where former students and co-workers would see how his life has changed. He not only feels threatened by embarrassment, but seems to dislike the idea that the previous 5 years would be erased. As Lola gained popularity and confidence, his only identity was fastened in his marriage with her. So while he changes everything about his life to be with her, she changes nothing, and the relationship relationship is extremely one-sided. After being humiliated in front of the entire town and finding Lola behind the stage with another man, Rash's meltdown illustrates a dramatic fear of the future and forceful yearning for the past. In fact, as he tightly grasped his classroom desk while Lola shines in the spotlight, it's clear that while he traveled incredibly far away from his comfortable routine to match her life, she had never even entertained the idea of meeting in the middle. Her identity was completely outside of their relationship, a direct choice of individuality over love. Rath was infatuated with the idea of abandoning his previous life, while Lola simply remained stagnant on her previous life path, forcing him to fully accommodate despite his lack of comfort. The confused professor could have been seen as the majority of Germany, embodying a desire to change despite immense fear of the unknown consequences, clearly seen in the governmental turmoil throughout the following years. His dramatic relapse demonstrated the complacent inertia inhibiting social progress for future generations.